Okay, I just wanted to show kind of a fun little bonus thing that I've been messing around with. So, you know how in Final Fight you could basically, carry weapons from one level to another, and you may or may not have noticed that there is one scenario where you can even carry characters from one level to another. For example, if you pick up somebody with Hager and walk into the subway train, you'll actually carry that character across the stages. And so I was thinking about it, and like there are a couple of corner cases that really weren't being handled before, and uh, basically one thing that wasn't being handled was if you are playing with multiple players and you're on the uptown entrance stage, and somebody goes into the elevator when it comes down, and they drop a weapon on the ground inside the elevator, and then another player later goes into the elevator, and when all the players are ready, the elevator starts going up. Like the way that it was done, it actually doesn't bring the weapons that were lying on the floor up with you in the elevator. They just stay on the ground. And so what I have been messing around with is basically making everything persistent everywhere. And it did actually open up kind of a can of worms, because basically, I mean, like the more things you let people do, the more things you have to handle. And so there were other corner cases as well. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but in the last version, I actually let characters start pile driving the Rolento corpse on the industrial bonus stage. And so then that opened another can of worms, because it's like, okay, so if I can carry Rolento's corpse and I can carry characters from one level to another, what happens if I carry Rolento's corpse into the Bay Area stage? So, long story short, I kind of went through and just made all of that work. I mean, even though it's just complete fluff, but because a lot of the code to do that was actually generic, I just kind of wanted to show you things that like you can never actually see in the game, just because they won't happen. But technically, it's in there just because the code is all shared. So let me show you like an example of just like my just when I'm testing this, just, what I rigged up here. So this is the Uptown Halls stage. If you're carrying a character when you enter it. So see how this sequence now, basically there's a common event effectively for entering the stage. And so the logic more or less goes something along the lines of walk the character onto the stage, and if the character bumps into something, use their knockback attack to break whatever is in their way, and then keep walking onto the stage, and then give control back to the player. And basically, this code that happens here, it's the same for Uptown Halls, it's the same for the last level of the game, and it's the same for entering the Bay Area, entering the West Side stage, entering the Uptown entrance stage. It's basically the same for all of that. It's same for the basement, right? Like when you go into the basement, it's the same idea where you move the character forward, and if he bumps into something, do the strong attack, and it'll break the slum basement door so they can go in. So it's all the same code. So even though it can't actually happen because of the current rules, I just wanted just to have it in a video just so you could see it, just as kind of fun curiosity. But so if I change this and bring us back down to the basement level, you can see how it is the same thing that happens. Basically, a character will get thrown through the door and then enter the basement stage. And I was looking at this, and I was thinking, that's actually kind of cool. it's really almost tempting to concoct scenarios where that can happen normally, just because I kind of like the way that actually turned out. Um, but yeah, and you can see how, like, I can adjust this too. Like if I change it, just in this test, to Hager. So essentially, um, the reason this is happening is because it's all common code, and I had to come up with a way to make this work for all characters in every scenario. And so this is basically like how the logic of that has changed. So here's an example. You're on the industrial bonus stage. You're playing two players. One person's playing as Guy, another person, say, is playing as Hager or whoever, doesn't matter. So if you're Guy and you pick up Rolento's corpse and start kneeing it or something, and while that's happening, the other player leaves the stage, it'll actually move on to the next stage and go to the Bay Area stage. But see, here's the problem. If Guy is currently carrying Rolento, Guy and characters besides Hager and the giants, they don't have a grab walking animation, and so you can't really do that with them. And so for those characters, you have to handle it differently. And so now the new logic for the like the event to walk characters on the stage is a little bit more complicated. So now the logic is basically like this: walk the player onto the stage. If they bump into something and they happen to be grabbing somebody, if they're a character who can't walk with grabbed objects, initiate their throw animation and throw the character they're grabbing through the obstruction. If they're a character who can walk when they're grabbing objects, you can still do the grab throw, and it's fine. And basically, if there is no obstruction and you're a character who can't walk with grabbed objects, basically just throw the character onto the stage anyway, and then just walk forward. But if you are a character who can walk with grabbed objects, just use your grab walk animation and just walk them onto the stage while you're still grabbing them. So it's a little bit more complicated. But basically what I've done here, though, is I've handled every corner case. Every scenario is handled now. And so there's a real persistence going from level to level where... And so here's the kicker. Along with all this bullshit, the side effect of this is I added yet another little secret onto the ending of the game where, it's kind of like the gnome in the, Valve games. If you manage to get Rolento's corpse to the end of the game, something special will happen. But basically, it's just a fun little thing, and it just allows you to, basically carry stuff, all along the way, and it just allows for more interesting things to happen. And actually, along with this too, I have done some kind of like minor cleanups on the colliders for the Uptown entrance stage. What is this, 56? So yeah, like the colliders are like a little bit better on the Uptown elevator, where you can actually move around in it a little bit now. It's a little bit nicer. See how in this case I rigged it up so that if you're a character who can grab walk, they can just carry whoever they're grabbing onto the stage if they happen to be holding somebody when they beat the Bay Area level. So yeah, so basically, like, it's just all handled now, essentially. So it's fun. It's just a fun little bonus thing. But I will say though, this is like, this is literally beating a dead horse. Like this is pretty much it. Like I might change a couple of other things, but I have mostly kind of switched over to Samurai Shodown 2. I mean, there really is no like finishing a game. I mean, there's always something else you could do. There are always other ideas. You could, but this probably is good. Like it's already so ridiculously far over, what it needs to be. But it's it's still fun. I think it's just, and these are just nice little touches. I think that just kind of that just kind of add to how the game feels. And the funny thing is, like like I said, this did kind of open a can of worms because even stuff with Rolento's corpse, there were assumptions before where it was kind of like, well, that corpse object, it was really only being completely handled for the industrial bonus stage, whereas it truly is just kind of like a generic object like everything else now, and like all the different scenarios for it are pretty much handled. And so it's nice in that sense where it's completely generic now, and it is also kind of fun to use it as a weapon because Rolento's corpse actually has a hurtbox collider on it, so you can use him. You can knock him into things. Knock him into enemies. So it's just another. Might as well just do that. But I said though, I think this is pretty damn near the end. I mean, I'm at the point where I literally have essentially taken every pixel in this game and made it possible to interact with it in all of the ways the game lets you interact with things. I mean, there is almost literally nothing left to do. I mean, it's pretty much this is kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. But in any case, this is fun little thing.